AI gets better the more data it has about you. And if companies can make it useful enough, the users will gladly give away everything they have.
Can you really trust them if they say we are not tracking your data or training any LLM on the data? I think already the chatbot is the browser, right? I think very few people are using Google as is now.
Sometimes it can make mistakes, or even often make mistakes, and it can spit out misleading facts. Sometimes it can be like by accident. Sometimes it can be intentionally like skewed by the companies that are training it, right? And honestly, you're kind of fucked. I'm not sure if there's a solution. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Design Diner, a podcast where we talk about design news, rebrands, new tools, and pretty much anything happening in the design space. As always, I'm Adam, and with me here today is...
Hey, I'm Adam. Hello, everyone.
We have some fun topics as usual for today. We are going to talk about very interesting redesign we saw, about very cool tool, and of course new ChatGPT Atlas, which is an AI browser, and then some more AI content and how we consume it, how we find it maybe controversial, how people are going to use it, stuff like that. Let's start with the redesign. I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, let's go. So I found a lovely small brand identity redesign that's been done by an English studio that is called Justified, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Justified. I'm gonna
Yeah.
put up the screen share.
Justified Studio. I've never heard of them, but their works looks very, very nice. And I found this short article, so very briefly, because I loved what they've done with the rebrand. So it was a rebrand for a company, La Sovrana. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. That is a high quality food supplier of Italian goods in the England. And yeah, the whole rebrand was all about the logo mark and using the correct imaginary or images to evoke emotions in the user and show the high quality that they are bringing. Could you put up the old one first on the Instagram so we can compare it to the new one?
I'm not sure where it was.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you put up the link there.
Yeah, it's in here. Okay. Old.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, good, cool. Yeah, so that in the background, that's what I found is the old brand. Not bad, but it's very, I don't know how to describe it. A little old, or it feels little old. So yeah, the new rebrand was like a breath of fresh air. I really love it. It looks very organic, and the typography looks just awesome. You can just feel the yeah the best word for it is organic. Like it fits the niche and everything so well. I don't think there's anything else to say. I really like it. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. I like the feel of it. Like it fits into the whole produce food vibe, right? It feels like a little bit, I don't know, maybe even like earthy.
Yeah.
It's very hard to describe, and I think that's anytime that you have a branding that it is really good, but it's hard to describe. That's like one of those special things that you don't see that often when it's hard to describe why is that good. It just has like certain feel to it. They really nailed it. I love the typography, how they mocked it up on certain elements like these tapes or the shirts, and I think it will look really good like in the stores, for example, or like exactly on the employee shirts, stuff like that. I think if I got a merch from them, I would definitely wear this. So
Yeah. And the
yeah,
good thing is when you see these duct tape mock-ups, in this it actually makes sense because they will very likely use it for the boxes, right? In that's probably the first time I see this that I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Show me how it looks like on my box.
yeah, that's one thing that I don't like about making branding for digital products, because you cannot mock it up on things.
Yeah.
You there, it's very difficult. You can maybe make like shirts or maybe like ads, but that's about it. And with physical products like this, you can really go ahead and play with it.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, go check them out, guys. Very, very great work in my opinion.
Hmm. All right. Next up is the next up on my script is the Norma AI, which is basically like a um, branding software. Let's say it lets you basically upload your brand, and it will try and take care of your branding for you. So it will try and take care of the images, for example, for your social posts, maybe some mockups like we just talked about. Um, and it will try to even like guide you with certain things. So for example, if you upload a certain image, it can tell you if it's on brand, or if you upload a certain post, it can even know your brand's voice, so how your brand should sound like, and it can sort of guide you throughout the content. I feel like the position it's right now, the position it's in right now is not great. The content that I saw from it is not amazing. For example, these AI images look very, they just look AI generated. It's not something that you would want to use probably on your brand in your brand. Uh, but to me, this is more interesting, like the idea behind it, right? Like if in the future, or in a year, when this is really good, and when the AI generated images are really good, when the tool is really good, if this is something that might replace, for example, a designer that does not make the branding directly, but just takes care about the brand, makes some supporting assets, some things for the social media, stuff like that. So maybe my question to you is, like, can you imagine that happening? Like, you will make the branding, but then you will hand it off to some app like this, or the client will hand it off to an app like this, and they won't need you anymore.
Not really. Like at least in my opinion, or like for my type of work, this is very low. It's below the standard I have,
Hmm.
and I think everyone is making these tools, but they are sort of like missing the target market. Like the market shouldn't really be designers, in my opinion. This should be like these tools should aim at other people than designers, right? So marketers or someone very junior, or they don't have an idea of how things work. So then, sure, great. This is very low cost, very well. Obviously, it's not good, but sometimes it's enough to just kickstart the brand. And then, if you're doing well, you can just pay a real human being to rebrand, as we just saw in the previous example. But yeah, I have mixed feelings about this because I'm not sure if this will ever happen. Maybe, as I said, for the juniors or people that don't really understand, because you can clearly tell the image is AI, or at least we can, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I more want to talk about the idea of it, about the concept behind it, because this is a very new product. I saw the person behind it on X. It's still in beta, and they are looking for funding. So let's just imagine that in a year this
Right.
tool will be really good. It will be able to generate relevant content for your brand. It will be able to mock up your brand assets on things, and it will actually look good. It will actually look realistic, because in the 2 3 years, or I would say just 2 years, that image generation is around, we made like really huge progress. So I can imagine this being really good in a year or two. So to me, this is like more about the question if this can even work.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I mean, kudos to everyone who's making this type of things and are looking for funding. This is very hard to do, even though we are mocking it a little, or saying that we can clearly tell it's AI. I know how much work goes into this because, with Mihal, he launched his startup that's AI based as well. And they spent over a year creating their own engine and everything. So it's very tedious and hard stuff. So, first of all, kudos. And the idea, as I said, could work. If you target the right market,
Mm.
sure. I mean, I can see this being big and an alternative to like very junior designers. Like you will probably pick this over a junior designer, as you would probably today. If you don't have the budget, you will likely just take a template from AI and buy it and edit it yourself instead of hiring a junior designer. That's the sad world we are living in, but yeah, I think
Mhm.
that's possible.
I think from the posts I saw, it feels like they're targeting founders mainly that don't have budget for
Yeah,
a designer, but still
yeah.
want to make something that looks good and is consistent. Um, would you say this is a good target audience, or would it be better to maybe go to like marketers or someone like that, like you mentioned earlier?
Well, again, it's very hard, right? Because on one hand, you want to give the work to the juniors, so people that come after us, the field is still good. On the other hand, if this can make a better images or brand identity, because those are two different things, uh, then sure. I mean, it just filters the people, right? You either have the drive to learn and rise above the AI, or the AI will, in this case, take it.
Yeah, true, true. That's a good point. I wonder if there when there will ever be a time where AI will take over like 99% of designers, and the 1% will be like some very high level people. But I don't honestly, I don't personally, I don't think that's gonna happen. But might be interesting discussion. Let's move on to the next topic, which is the ChatGPT Atlas. If you haven't heard, it came out literally yesterday. So I of course had to download it because I just like new shiny AI things, right? Even though I might not use them. Um, very to explain it very simply, it's an AI powered browser. It's very similar to ChatGPT. So if you ever use ChatGPT, you will feel right at home. When you open it, it just looks like the chat window in ChatGPT. And the difference is that it can navigate you to sites. It has like different tabs now at the top, so that you can switch between chat mode, website mode, image mode, stuff like that. And it also has like a sidebar where you can chat with the site directly. Uh, there's also like bunch of very clever features. For example, it can know what exactly you're viewing on the page. It can rewrite text when you select it. It can remember what you browsed. So, for example, if you went to some document 2 weeks ago and now you don't know how to find it again, but you vaguely remember what it was about, supposedly you are just supposed to describe it and it's going to be able to bring it up. They had a demo where it worked. Personally, I'm not sure how it's going to work or if it's going to work because very similar features in Dia. And whenever I tried it, it was not able to find anything that I wanted. But it's an interesting idea, at least. Uh, for me, the most interesting part was integration of agent mode. If you don't know, agent mode in ChatGPT is basically a mode where you can tell the AI to do something. It's going to open up a virtual browser on its own machine, and it's going to click in the browser and do what you asked it to. The biggest downside there is that in the virtual browser, it's not logged into anything. So if you tell it uh, to buy groceries online, it won't be able to log into your account. You will need to go every time log in. Uh, since this is in the browser directly now, you can check. You can select a logged in mode, and it will be logged in to all of your apps. So it can literally have all the context. It can use anything that you use daily. So I tried it out for a couple of things. It was pretty cool, I have to say. It's still a little slow, but it's a very nice idea. Um, Have you ever used a browser like this or something similar?
No, I'm staying away from it, surprisingly. I'm just happy in Brave and Google and, Safari.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, everything you've described is great. The one thing that, screams at me is like, give me all the privacy. I don't want any, right? I
Yeah,
mean, there's like zero things we can hide now. Like you are on the internet, like give me all the bank accounts and everything, and
sure.
just don't worry, I'm logged in. Sure, no data leaks available. Um, yeah, I mean, I can see like I'm not surprised this is a thing, and
Mhm.
it probably was due date for this. Like it really makes sense. And I have a lot of friends that are just talking to ChatGPT and asking it about an opinion or like what they should do and everything. Obviously, I think this is wrong, and I have my like very strong feelings and opinion about this that we are getting dumber by using this software, but it looks cool, right? I mean, for
Mhm.
people, if we imagine this in a good hands, right? And for people with disabilities, for example, or like people, yeah, probably that's the thing. I'm trying to see it in a positive light, that
Mhm.
people with some disabilities may have way easier time shopping or doing things on the internet because they can now use, you can use the voice and
Mhm.
tell the agent what to do. They have all the credit card and everything, so you're just praying a little that everything stays in your account as it is. But on the other hand, I think it can make the life a lot easier to those people.
Mhm. Uh, so I don't want to get too deep into this topic because we could literally talk about
Ours,
AI
yeah.
being ethical and stuff for an hour. So maybe we'll do a special episode about it. But so your main issue with the AI browser is security, if I understand right.
Yeah, that, and I don't really like how those browsers work. If you, there was, what was it, Arc browser, right? There
Hmm.
was a huge hype about like around Arc browser, and then this is very controversial topic, so let's not pull out the pitchforks and lighters. They basically were like there's the summary of the website and everything, right? So you're taking the SEO and the views from the site. So it's way harder now to even get any leads on the sites and any meaningful time spent by the user on the site, because you don't really need to click on the site because you get a description and there's no need to search for hours and hours. And the second thing was that I'm not sure what was it like exactly, but I know that they were they were like sort of destroying sites, so their site was getting more leads. I'm confusing this. I like let's
I,
not take this seriously, right?
I'm
Because
not
I,
sure this
I
is related to Arc honestly, because Arc is not AI based browser. That's Dia,
yeah, but
which
Arc shut down,
second.
right? To BDA. So
Uh, it's more like it still gets security updates. I'm using it
right.
daily, and for me, it's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I understand where you're coming from. That was basically the narrative about it.
But yeah,
Around.
to
Uh,
answer your question, it's security mainly, but
mhm. Yeah.
it probably doesn't really matter because I'm on the internet anyways, and I have my mail and passwords there anyways, even though I'm using one P password and all this kind of stuff and random 16-digit passwords. If someone wants to hack you, they will hack you. So you can argue with that, but yeah, I think people are not realizing that all of this is learning on the human data and it's essentially stealing.
I think interesting like philosophy around it I saw was that basically AI gets better the more data it has about you, and if companies can make it useful enough. the users will gladly give away everything they have.
Totally. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm kind of falling into this myself, because also another argument that I have for this is that everyone has my data already, right? Google
Yeah.
has it already. When I talk about something on this podcast, I'm most likely going to have it as an ad on my phone later.
Yeah.
So does it really make a difference, right? Having having OpenAI having my data, or scanning my browser. Of course, passwords is like where I would draw the line, 100%. But I'm at a point where I don't really care about browsing data anymore, and I'm not even, yeah, it's a difficult topic, but I think if companies can make it useful enough, people will just won't care. They will just give away
Yeah,
everything.
totally. I agree. If it's useful enough and makes your life way easier, like, you know, all your data, here's my data, like take
Hmm.
it. But as you said, the lock-in mode is little worrying, probably, credit cards and all this kind of stuff. I'm sure they thought about this. This is very generic question or topic, so there should be something. On the other hand, can you really trust them if they say we are not tracking your data or training any LLM on the data? It's all
Yeah,
these little clauses in the privacy. So yeah, but cool
100%.
thing nevertheless. I mean, this was bound to happen, in my opinion, because Google does this already. As you said, Dia, I think, has something similar to it as well,
Yeah,
probably because it's AI based.
yeah, very
And
similar.
so this is just keeping up with the market, right? Because you just have
Yeah,
to be seen as doing something, even though it's slow or probably a beta something. It's out. You're
I
in the
think they actually
competition.
released this as 1.0, and I was pleasantly surprised by how polished it is. Because there's a bunch of AI browsers, like exactly, for example, Comet or Dia, and they are both in beta. You even needed like invite codes, or I think Dia just released 1.0, but it was in beta for a long time, so it was very unpolished. And when I tried this, it basically felt like Chrome. I could even pin tabs, stuff like that. It's obviously built on Chrome, so sure, but there are no like features locked behind stuff for no reason. It felt very polished and very complete. So I was surprised by that. Um, I want to ask you one question. Do you use AI chatbots in general?
That, yeah, but
Hmm?
not in a way everyone else is. I'm trying to not ask it about opinions, but rather build upon my ideas rather
Hmm.
than asking, is this right or is this bad? Like, does it make sense? Explain this and this and this to me. The only like exception is when I'm vibe coding.
Hmm.
Then I am asking the AI to dumb it down for me so I can understand, and then Google the docs and all these kind of stuff so I can understand the basic and basis of it. But yeah, I think most people aren't using it like correctly.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I can agree with that. But have you ever used it for like browsing, or like looking up facts, looking up I don't know, even like, for example, notes for this podcast or something like that.
Yeah,
Have you
yes.
ever been in a situation when it goes and browses the internet?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because the reason I'm asking is because I feel like there's like two sides of it right now, and they're like closing in together. One side is ChatGPT trying to uh, become a good browsing experience, trying to bring in the internet into the chat with different like widgets, images, stuff like that. And then there's this browser thing that is trying to be AI chat, right? So you have like two very similar products on different sides of the spectrum, and they're like merging in together. Uh, I'm curious, who do you think will win? Will the chatbot become the standard, or will the AI browser become the standard?
Well, I think already the chatbot is the browser, right? I think very little, like very few people are using Google as is now, and that's why Google implemented the AI assistant summary for
Yeah.
the search, just to battle and push a little. But ever since ChatGPT released, I like saw thousands and thousands of people saying, "Yeah, we don't really use Google anymore. We just browse inside the chat," right? And I do have issues with that because most of the time links are broken. When we all know
Mhm.
it, links are broken. And if you like, for example, today, because I was busy and I was looking for the quick branding in ChatGPT, because what it was like recommending to me when I said, "Give me something for this week," right?
Mhm.
I really hate this little fly that's going on.
Yeah, I see it on the camera.
Um, it was recommending to me, Dominoes
Hmm.
and the Microsoft icons and everything, and that's not from today's, like this
Yeah.
week, right? It's a month old, very likely, like the Microsoft stuff at least. So I think this is easing very nicely into the next topic we have, where
Hmm.
you can't really tell if the AI is lying, and if you catch it, then it says, "Oh yeah, sorry, you are right. I'll try to find something from this week's," and then
Yeah.
throws a domino at me instead of Microsoft, and I'm like, "Yeah, but that's not really this week's either, right?" So
Hmm.
yeah. Um, Yeah, Tobias is, I think everyone knows him. He's a very known designer, the top 1% at least in the world. He's done the NASA logos and he's designing things around him. So he's basically, designer at heart. So he designed his own motorcycle, he's riding it, everything is cool. And he has his own AI product as well, My Mind, and he has very interesting blogs and topics that he talks about because I like how he perceives world. And he asks a very like difficult question here. Like if someone isn't very intelligent, they can't accurately recognize who is correct, right? So how will we recognize when AI becomes more intelligent than us? And I would add, like, how would we recognize if the AI is lying to us? So what do you think will happen when AI learns enough and then becomes like this another being that we can't like understand?
Hmm. It's a very good question. I really like the post we have up on the screen. Uh, Honestly, I feel like this is kind of happening already, right? You have AI sort of getting into our lives and people using chatbots pretty much every day now. And for some people, it's super useful, right? Just like the internet was, for example. They can look up facts faster, they can be more curious, they can know stuff about pretty much everything. And it makes everything much easier, right? But just like when internet was introduced, there are going to be people who will trust everything they see on the internet or now in the AI chatbot, and that's the issue, right? If you are not smart enough, or if you don't have the mentality to recognize that sometimes it can make mistakes or even often make mistakes, and it can spit out misleading facts. Sometimes it can be like by accident, sometimes it can be intentionally like skewed by the companies that are training it, right? Yeah, then honestly you're kind of fucked. I don't know how. Honestly, I'm not sure if there's a solution. And what I think is interesting is, like you said, what if AI gets even more and more intelligent, and suddenly the people, two of us who are right now talking about it, like, these people are not as smart, so they don't recognize it. Suddenly, we are going to be the people who don't recognize it, and at that point, I'm not sure how that can be handled. But I also think, like, what are the motivations behind it, right? If the AI is smarter, then why would it mislead you, right? If it's like just some sort of instance of an AI that runs in a chat and doesn't have doesn't actually live anywhere, right? Constantly, so it doesn't have long term memory, stuff like that. It can like it doesn't want to give you bad facts. Then why would it do it, right?
I mean, why not, right? It's fun. Like,
Okay,
why not? But yeah,
fair enough.
yeah. But I think like we've ran a little over the point Tobias was making that it's like magic. It's indistinguishable or it's nonsense to us.
Hmm.
And he said like down in the post that like he found a little happiness in this post, because when that happens, first of all, we won't be able to understand it. Second of all, we will call AI dumb
Hmm.
and ultimately shut it down because it makes nonsense, because we can't comprehend what it's saying, right? And it's a little scary, isn't it? I mean, if something is more intelligent than we are, then how can we tell it's more intelligent because we are not more intelligent than the AI? So then, you're in this little cycle of he said it well, like you can't follow Einstein or Feynman, right? Because you have no clue. So if we have no clue, how can we tell? But yeah.
Hmm. I think to me it again comes down to the motivation, and like I can see like the paradigm here with some scenario from a movie where AI takes over because it decides this is the better way to run the world or something like that. Um, and
But how can you tell it's better?
mhm.
Like
Well,
that's the
yeah.
question. How can you tell it's better? Like turn to
Mhm.
run the world better. Like, why would we do this instead of this, right?
Yeah, I agree with you that you can't really, but what I want to get at is that for this to happen, you would first need to have some sort of instance of AI that is actually meant to do that. It is meant to run constantly. It is meant to like observe stuff and give you advice. And it has memory. It's basically an actual person, right? Right now in a state where the AI is just a chat that is launched every time you interact with it, and then it's shut down every time, and it can't like write anything on its own or observe on its own. I feel like that's why right now it cannot happen. Why it cannot like actually skew your opinion. What can happen maybe is that the companies behind it will skew your opinion through the AI, but the AI itself, I don't see how it would have the motivation to do it, right?
Right.
If you get my
I
point.
think that this is good. I'm actually like, I have other opinion that it actually is capable of it, and there
Hmm.
are like we don't really need to bind ourselves just to like ChatGPT. There are other LLMs or like other learning stuff that is doing this and is meant to do this and is like getting conscious. Like there was this case, I think it was with ChatGPT, there was this case where they were trying to run some protocols, and then they said that it should like self-destruct, and it tried to lie and started
Yeah.
duplicating itself so it wouldn't like self-destruct. So that's already like,
Hmm.
happening.
Yeah. I saw that, and also I saw like there are benchmarks for it, right? So that you are supposed to like recognize if the AI is not going to obey you.
Yeah.
But like you said, if the AI is smart enough, it could
How
cheat
can you
those
tell?
benchmarks,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Like the question I have for this is, why are we doing this?
Yeah, that's a very deep question. Like my very short take on this is just progress and like technological progress is something that has always been around, and it never could have been stopped. Like even if you look into history, people tried to stop like technical revolution, stuff like that. It never happened, right? So I feel like people just want to do new stuff, and even myself, even though I know there are like many risks to it and it probably will have many bad outcomes, in my head I'm still like, yeah, this is super cool, and yeah, I want to see this go forward because it's just going to be interesting. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay, all right.
What's your take?
Yeah, well, I honestly don't know, and I don't think I have a short answer for this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very biased against AI because I'm also doing 3D and all this kind of stuff, and there's like a whole different topic of AI stealing and learning off of your work and ripoffs and Disney suing and all this kind of stuff. It's very deep. I don't like it. And then again, if it's smarter and it's evolving very fast, then it's filtering out the market and everything, and then you can't really be sure if something is made by AI. So where's the pleasure, or like where's the
Mhm.
beauty in it, like the art? Like we should be creating AI. There's this famous thing, like we should be creating AI to wash the dishes and let us do art, like not vice versa. And I think that that sums it up pretty well. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
let's create AI to do the tedious stuff, like, I don't know, clean the toilet, and let me do my art. Like, don't do it
Yeah, sure.
vice versa.
Sure, I definitely agree with that, and I think that's also where it's kind of heading, right? With humanoid robots, uh, but the issue is just it's much harder to make robots than to make
Yeah,
software.
yeah,
But at its core, I agree with you 100%. All right,
super.
I think we could do like a whole 3 hour
Yeah,
special episode about
a
this.
lot longer. Yeah.
So let's perhaps check out an AI post that you sent over.
Yes, it's from, well, how are they? Oh, the logos. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
we can do the logos. This is easing into, again, the conversation of stealing and how AI is good, and will it replace junior designers? So this is a human versus AI logo design, and I saw this. I think like 4 days ago, probably on Reddit, and I stopped and I really needed to look because first of all, I don't really do that much logos. I mean, I do logos for my clients, but I wouldn't call myself a logo designer. That's
Mhm.
completely different, way harder than you think. And some I could tell that they are made by AI, but some of those I didn't think, like I was very on the edge.
Mhm.
So this is very nice, like for the users to try, stop the video and try to, see what if you can tell. And I think there is an answer in the comments as well, like which are and which aren't.
Mhm.
So the question is, do you think, again, do you think that this is a good way to use AI? Will it replace the junior graphic designers?
Mhm. Yeah, again, I think this is like it really depends on who is using it. For people that are trying to make some simple product and are on its own, they don't have budget. It's perhaps their side project. They can really like elevate it by just having some solid logo made with AI, and they don't need to pay for it. And right now, it's at a point where the real differentiator, right, is not the logo, but how it's used throughout the brand, how you create different assets, different mockups, how you use it. So right now there is definitely still a gap between like actual designers and AI generated logos, a huge gap. But for these very simple logos, I think it's pretty valid. It's a valid scenario to use AI generated logos for like simple products or when you don't have a budget. Uh, One thing that I'm not a huge, or I think it's a little bit misleading here in this image, is that we don't know how these logos were generated, right? Because there's still some skill to using AI for generating images. And if you just go and ask it to generate a logo for a motorcycle company, it's most likely going to come up with something not very good. But if you give it very niche description of what you want, how you want it styled, you go through 10 generations of it, you might get something very good like you see here. And then it will be practically not recognizable from the real thing, right?
Yeah. Plus, you're using images of other people to create these images.
Fair enough. But you could argue that if you are like a logo designer and you are not very ethical and you take a lot of inspiration and you almost copy other people's logos, then you kind of do the same thing.
Yeah, but that shouldn't ever happen, right? You should take it and elevate it on top. Like, there's a great book on this, Still Like an Artist,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of my favorite books. Like, it basically tells you how to steal and
Mm-hmm.
not being like called out because you alternate the work so much that you
Mm-hmm.
can't really tell. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I totally get you.
Okay. Do you want to go for the last topic that you
Yeah,
sent over?
and it's again AI, right? And how how we can't really tell if it's lying or not, and
Mhm.
how are we using it daily. So this is from a huge channel on YouTube, and I totally forgot how it's pronounced. Gur,
Kurzgesagt, I
yeah,
think.
that thing. Let's go with that. And it's a huge channel of like a lot of people working and doing handmade stuff for all of the videos. So they are usually using Cinema 4D, After Effects, and all other things. And this was a great video. I like encourage everyone to go look at it. And it was about like how we are using AI and how it's feeding us slop, and we can't really tell if it's slop. Meaning, in this video, it was about the red dwarfs in the universe, and it was about an article. And they've done a lot of research, I think a month long research, and then like talked to specialists about this in the field as well. And they were pointing out some like little sections in what the AI wrote, like where are you getting these data from? How can we like validate it and all this kind of stuff. And then a month after they've done that, they saw a video on YouTube that was talking about the red dwarfs, and it was made from AI, even though it has like thousands of views, and people thought it's human made. So
Mhm.
we are in the era, and like I'll want your opinion on this, right? But we are in the era of where AI makes stuff up, and people are using AI to write articles. So the
Mhm.
articles can't be validated. And then the AI, next time is asked about the topic, it will search through that article that's made up, and it will
Mhm.
all add up to itself. So now we are like in the era of slop where you can't really tell if something is real until you really do the research and validate it, because you're in the
Mhm.
vicious cycle of AI written articles not validated. Let's make it more interesting. Oh, now there's a source, but it's written by AI and all of this.
Mhm. This is definitely a very complicated topic. I would argue that this sort of thing has always been around, but in just much smaller scale. Because even before AI, you could go online and you could find studies citing studies or articles citing other articles that were fake, that were just straight up lies, because they did not verify their sources properly, and the information was duplicating or like duplicating and basically being fake in the exact same way, but in just much smaller scale, right? But if you go and look, you can find like very famous examples of studies that were fake and had like 200, 400 citations in other studies that were based on it. So I think like verifying articles, verifying work has always been like a pretty tough thing, and now it's just much worse. And I think the solution is really just to try and educate people, and it's sort of like the responsibility of the companies that are like making these AI tools to just educate the people how it should be used, what to watch out for. But there will always be people that just go wild and use it for stealing videos like this, or making very bad content. I don't think you can really do anything about that other than, us consumers being against it and not watch it. And if no one's going to watch it, then it's not going to be a thing.
Yeah, but totally, I agree. Like, we should be fact checking everything these days and not trust anything. Like I'm at this stage when I see something on the internet, I'm not really like going into the conversation before I actually check if it's correct or if it's just rage bait for views and stuff. But it takes time, right? And not everyone has this time. So yeah, ultimately we are doomed to do this because people won't ignore it. Like it's impossible, right? Because even targeted at kids, it's impossible for the kid to like, you have to not give him a phone or just restrict YouTube and then everything else, because even games and everything is just made by AI these days as well. So it's a huge rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah. I think even when I was back in elementary school, when we had like IT class, I would get told, "Don't trust everything you see on the internet," and now it's just much worse. And even then, there were like methods and ways that you would fight against it, against the like unverified information. You would verify multiple sources, stuff like that, or you would go to like trusted sites. Um, and right now it's just gonna, I feel like we just need to invent new ways to verify content, to spot out like AI generated content, or to maybe on the other hand like watermark real content, and everything that's not watermark like real content we are just gonna suppose is AI generated. uh, I'm kind of like surprised that there is no real way to do that yet. The platforms don't have any methods to handle this yet.
Yeah,
I
they
saw
have
like
AI to say if it's AI.
yeah, I mean, I saw like bunch of I saw thing it was from Adobe, like a basically watermark for your files, invisible watermark that would log every single edit of the file and how it was created, how it was edited, stuff like that. And it was basically a foolproof way to being able to tell that something was edited or generated by AI. But I have not seen it implemented anywhere yet, except in the Adobe software. So I think that's a shame that that has not happened yet, and I think we should like definitely push on this.
I think there are ways people are doing that. There was a certain term for it, but it was basically like putting a little bit of code on top of your illustration, and then when you've exported it and the AI read it, it just like got a virus or like would lag. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how it was called, but that was a thing, because yeah, it was very virus at the start. But yeah, I totally agree. But on the other hand, like even if Adobe does it, like are we sure Adobe isn't training the work on our, like
Um, Yeah,
you,
it
you
probably
can
is. I
never
meant
tell.
more like more in a sense that users will be recognize what is AI and
Oh
what is
yeah,
not AI online. So when you scroll Instagram, you will have like watermarks next to the posts that will say yes, this is real content. And if it
yeah,
doesn't have the watermark, you will supposedly suppose it's AI.
yeah. I always find it funny, right? Even on X, when I like scroll through a couple of posts, and then people are asking for a prompt in the comments, and then you show them the
Mhm.
wireframe of of the image or
Yeah,
something, and it's yeah, it's sad that everyone just thinks that everything is made by AI and they can do it by a simple prompt,
yeah,
when the things actually take skill.
yeah. True, true, and it happened to me as well. So I'm
Really,
curious
what
if this is
what
going
was
to
the
be a thing.
post?
Sorry.
What was the post?
I don't remember. It was some complex illustration, or I think I even like once delivered a pretty complex illustration to a client, and they asked me which software did I make it in, like which AI tool did I use, and I was like, man, I made this myself. It took like 6 hours. All right, yeah. I think that's if you don't have other notes,
No, I
I
think
think that
that's it for today's episode. Yeah,
all right. Well, it was great talking again after a week. We hope you liked the video. If you liked it, go drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos from us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
yeah. Have a great day, everyone.